I'm Jonathan Hayes of the St. Louis Battlehawks, and this is the XFL Show.
More burger for the love of football. 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 Let's go.
If you smell what the XFL is cooking.
Welcome, football fans. This is the week of March 20th, 2022, on the road to Kickoff 2023. This is For the Love of Football, and this is the XFL Show. I'm Alan.
And I'm Bryant.
The USFL has a rule book, finally, and the XFL's hitting the college pro days hard. This is episode 213. Bryant, if it's good, steal it, because that's kind of what the USFL did with some of their rules taken from the XFL rulebook, but some interesting new stuff I can't wait to talk about this week.
If it's good, steal it is probably one of the better quotes of the week because, this is literally like nothing we've seen before in our entire life. Yeah. Ever.
When it comes to the USFL overtime, which is similar to the XFL overtime, but different in a few ways. And yes, we never did see the XFL overtime. So technically, if we get a USFL OT, we will have never seen that before. We'll break down what that actually is coming up. That's all going to be in a chunky hot read full of rules, which will be fun. But real quick, let's let them know, Bryant, we're 47 weeks from kickoff. Kind of. We're doing this show way late this week. Why? Well, I don't know.
Life.
Exhaustion, lack of announcements, waiting for the USFL rulebook mostly.
Look, you can't have a football show go on during the same week as March Madness. It just doesn't work.
It doesn't
You're
work.
Not gonna it doesn't work. Mm-mm. It's you can't have not enough market share there for two things at one time like that.
It makes no
right, Vince?
sense. Yes, Vince would say so. And full transparency from me, have not watched one full March Madness game myself at all. I've bet on them, but I have not watched one full game. I don't know. Maybe that's because of betting now these days, or I don't know, my lack of attention span, or how I've kind of been fully immersed in some trash movies. I'm almost too embarrassed to even say
when you
on the
think
show.
An investment in a nice shiny new toy.
Oh, I got a new toy
like you're with.
Yeah.
I don't blame you, man. It's not easy to yeah.
I do have a shiny new toy that I'm talking to you through. This computer machine is brand new. I'm loving it. Yes, I nerded out all week. And I also I'll give a quick movie rec. It's Oscar week too, Brian, at the top of the show.
Oh, then we can't do this show. There's just not enough room.
There's not enough
in the schedule for this. Yeah, I can't do it.
I'll just real quick trying to give some excuses for why we didn't put the show out on a football Sunday last week or earlier this week or whatever. Stalked by My Doctor. It's the greatest movie franchise of all time. Huge recommendation.
Stalked by your doctor?
Stalked by My Doctor, starring Eric Roberts.
Like a stalker.
Yeah, he's tremendous.
My doctor is stalking me, calls me every day asking for his money. Can't believe he won't leave me alone.
They're the best stalkers. I've learned that. Okay, enough dilly-dallying. Let's get into the show. There's lots to cover this week. 724-565-4XFL is the XFL fan line. Call, leave a voicemail, leave a text. We'll get to it on the following show. We usually do, especially the good stuff. And of course, at XFL Show on social media, if you want to follow us, DMs are open, and we talk XFL during the week there. We are brought to you by Pretty Easy Podcast. You could go to prettyeasypodcast.com today to get your own podcast started. That's right. Get your own podcast started with all the help you'd ever need at an affordable rate. You get a producer, an editor, a podcast pal, someone to help you out and get your show out there on all the platforms. Sound good, crisp podcasting help at prettyeasypodcast.com.
Because they make podcasting pretty easy. So easy, in fact, that if you know somebody else's podcast idea is that good, they'll help you steal it, but in a different way.
Not outright, of course, but I mean
within
reason.
No.
Well, most ideas are still there's no original ideas anymore anyway. So
this is the XFL show, and then there's this is the next XFL show, something like that. They'll just a little spice.
There's always an original, but you know what? Sometimes the copies are good too, and they're okay. But everybody loves
Alien Ant Farm.
They did a good cover. Covers
Richie
are
Valens.
fun. We love covers, but the OGs are also always fun. And you know what? The OG XFL rulebook, I will say at the top of the show, we are not getting it to the USFL rules yet. Better than the USFL rules, even though we haven't seen them in play. A lot more questions about stuff I feel like I have now compared to going into the 2020 season. Just to put that out there at the start.
Well, we'll get into it, but I agree with you. But I think it's more because we haven't gone through the reasoning process to why these rules make sense, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
later.
Yeah, we'll break it down. But real quick, let's think and dunk about stuff you were saying and reacting to after our last conversation and meeting here in the podcast space. Jason M on XFL.show said every league needs a figurehead. Doesn't matter if it's a player, coach, owner, or commissioner. The USFL doesn't have that yet. Agree?
They don't have they could at least use the robot.
The Fox robot?
Yeah, they could at least use the Fox robot.
I don't know. I would maybe say if you're following it at all, it's Mike Pereira. He's the only one doing any kind of real media, and he's the one on Fox's website in all these videos they're putting out about rules and talking about lasers. So maybe him, kind of right now. At the end of it, we all know it'll be Jeff Fisher. USFL2.com is where I go. I think you could go to the USFL.
21 days, 18 hours, 20 minutes, and 15 seconds. Full season tickets on sale now. Which team?
What do you mean, which team?
Well, I mean, don't you buy season tickets by team?
Not in this league. Can't you get them for the whole league?
This is great. This is not even part of the Dink and Dunk. But, okay. So USFL Touchdown 10-pack. Below you will find a list of events that are available for purchase. General admission. Build your own season. Ability to choose 10 daily general admission tickets. Kids under 15 are free with ticket adult limit 3 kids per one order.
That, I'll say, is badass. I love it. I love that you can just go to all the games. That is the cool part about having a hub.
Build your own season. Ability to choose 10 daily premium general admission tickets. Kids under 15 admitted for... Oh, there's a premium general admission, excuse me. And there's a reserve stadium club, Alan, for 10 games.
I mean, that's
kids
awesome.
Under 2. Only kids under 2, though, administer for free there.
Imagine 13, 14-year-old us, if we were living in Birmingham. How pumped would you have been for this? Come on. That's cool.
I'm going to go with USFL Premium Reserve Seat. They are $400 a piece, basically. Go in here, add to cart.
For how many games?
For 10
games in the season.
I'm going to continue here. Let's see what it does. Look at this. Section 101, row A, seat 11 and 12.
You get right there, right where all the action is. It's very affordable.
I don't know where you choose the games, though.
Really affordable.
I bet you, what if it's like a punch card?
That's cool. Or like a pass, like a fast pass, or you got that at Magic Mountain, right?
Can it be like a key fob? Scan a key fob, sir.
Your season pass to Universal Studios or whatever. It's like that. That's cool. I'm down for that. I like that aspect of the USFL. I will admit. The hub city, obviously, as a whole concept, isn't as exciting as having teams play in their own cities. But if you're going to do it, make it affordable and accessible. And they definitely are. I think that's a good thing.
There's nothing on their website about the rules.
No, it's on foxsports.com. You got to go to.
Makes sense. That. No, that makes sense. Yeah. You're right. That makes sense.
And also there's no menu on their website to, look up a team or look at their coaches or their rosters. You got to scroll all the way down to the page.
It just sometimes when you have too much time, you overlook these things. Alan, that's what it is.
Shark Attack on the XFL.show comments after last episode said it's going to be San Antonio Toros or San Antonio Scorpions. And for Chicago,
Toro is like that fruit, right? Like that people make tea out of.
Toro is a bull. Remember,
Oh,
Bring
I'm
It
thinking
On?
taro. Sorry,
Yeah.
taro.
Remember Bring It On?
Yeah.
They were the Toros. He said for Chicago, bring back the Chicago Enforcers or the Chicago Untouchables, which I like.
Untouchables, I like it, but it doesn't roll off the tongue. I feel like it's
It's-
too many syllables.
It also might be copyright. I don't know who owns the Untouchable branding. It might be Kevin
Would
Costner.
you, even if somebody didn't
don't
own
know.
that branding, like I feel like somebody owns that branding. If you,
I mean, I would love to. I mean, they would never put it, but like a Tommy gun on a helmet would be pretty rad. But they're, yeah, I like those suggestions from Shark
Toros is
Attack for
good.
the San Antonio teams. Scorpions,
I believe Shark Attack was the one who had the Oakland Violators, though, if I'm not mistaken.
was it? Oh, that's.
It might have been. I apologize, Shark Attack, if you're not, but I feel like you were.
If it's between
But these
all
are
these,
better.
I'm going Scorpions all the way. Big City Knights in San Antonio is what I'm all about. So there you go. Scorpions is my pick for the San Antonio franchise.
Would you want their team colors to be red, yellow, and black?
Oh, I like that angle too. That's very good. And then you got to have a team, and then the
And then, like,
Chicago team needs to be this.
The stinger on the
Sub-Zeros.
Scorpion is like a dagger.
Just all team names after Mortal Kombat characters.
That'd be
then.
great.
Screw it.
Yeah.
The LA Cyrax. Do it. There you go.
The New York Raidens. That sounds great.
I like it. San
Put that down. Mark the date.
Mark it
the
down.
calendar. We want Mortal Kombat characters.
San Francisco Johnny Cages. Here we go. Let's do
Here
it.
we go.
Let's go.
Johnny Cages.
Arizona Toasties. There you go. All right.
Well, now you're kind of.
All right. I'm going
Be
outside the
Be
characters.
serious.
All right.
If you're
I'm
going to be
getting crazy.
serious.
Sorry.
Be serious.
All right. Jacksonville Jacks. There. Okay.
There you go. See? Boom.
All right.
Now you start going into cities just because.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well,
Love it.
we appreciate everyone hitting us up, but we got to get again into things this week. There's plenty of other comments and got a couple texts this week also. We'll get to them next week because there's so much to get into. First up, want to talk about a member of the XFL's football ops department getting a look-see from an NFL team. Will it happen? Who knows? But worth a chat. And of course, the USFL has some XFL faces announced as well this past week. So let's talk about it all in this week's Cover 2.
Good crisp football.
The XFL's Senior Vice President of Player Personnel, one of our good, close personal, longtime, dear good friends of the show, Doug Whaley, interviewed for the Pittsburgh Steelers general manager job recently, Bryant. One of many candidates for that job. They are interviewing lots and lots of potential GMs. Doug Whaley, one of them, of course, he's got his history with the Bills, currently working with the XFL, Pittsburgh native, makes a lot of sense. Does it make you nervous that they could steal him away from the XFL? Because there are so many candidates, I will say just honestly, probably not. But I am happy that the XFL currently has people employed in the league that are at least being either coveted or looked at by NFL teams. And that's only a good thing. That means you have good people working in the offices of the XFL. So that's good news, I would say, that Doug Whaley interviewed for that job. And I'm sure that the league would, I hate to lose him, but are very happy for him to even get that interview.
It's kind of like when you have like a significant other and people always try to steal that significant other away. You get angry, you get mad, but you also realize how good you have it.
Yes.
Because everybody wants them. Or here.
That's why I have mine locked up in a mountain home where there's no people.
I have not seen her in 6 months. I'm a little concerned, but it's okay. Usually she's kind of staring you down right now and telling you,
all
hey,
podcasting and no play makes Al a dull boy. But congrats to Doug Whaley. And as a Steeler fan, would love to see it happen. But I really have no idea or insight into who they're going to pick.
I don't think Pittsburgh does either.
When Kevin Colbert retires after the draft. Part 2 of the Cover 2, though, let's talk some coaches. The USFL assistants have been announced finally as well, in addition to the rules, because they're actually practicing now. Do you know that practice started actually today as of this live on tape recording?
Shh, you're giving away when our recording.
Oh, sorry.
It's recorded
Pay
on
no
Monday.
attention to the man behind the podcast curtain. The XFL names in the USFL are plenty, and we just have a few that we want to touch on real quick. Pepper Johnson is in the USFL, Brian, as a defensive coordinator for Todd Haley's Tampa Bay Bandits.
Give Pepper Johnson his dap. That man is a close,
Personal,
long-time
good friend
of the show, and
one of the greatest
ride-alongs
ever. Pepper Johnson is with the Tampa Bay Bandits.
Can you imagine if I had like a Corolla or something?
Oh yeah, it would have been very intimate. It would have been very. Luckily, we were in the SUV, but also can't shy away from the fact that Pepper Johnson, probably the most controversial firing, I guess, or dismissal from a team. Still don't know 100% what
part of me
down.
feels that the man was riding in a car by himself with us. Maybe there was some turmoil before that first game of the season.
We should have looked into it a little bit. Or was it our fault? We don't know. And if it was, we're sorry.
Who brought him here? Who brought this man here early?
No, just take him and drive him around. Don't bring him to the hotel. No one said that to us. I'm kidding. No one actually said that.
They offered us food when we got there. Of course, we're going to take a straight line.
Yes.
Now, what do we?
But Pepper Johnson back coaching with the Tampa Bay Bandits as a defensive coordinator. Another XFL named Chris Dishman, who's with the Guardians, is in the same area with the New Jersey Generals. He's the defensive coordinator there. And I think he probably put together the best secondary in the XFL, coaching with the Guardians. And now he's going to be the DC for the Generals. So I assume they're going to have a stout D, a good pass D. Jeff Jagodzinski was with the Renegades and is now working under Bart Andrus for the Philly Stars. So another name, coordinator name from the XFL. And then, we have scattered throughout a bunch of other assistants in the USFL. But again, we talk a lot about the USFL on this show because it's happening in how many days? 3 weeks?
Hold on, right? Live update. Sorry. Pulling up. 21 days and 18 hours.
In 21 days. And we see the comments underneath all the other good stuff. We do see these guys hate the USFL. Why do they say we do not? We're being critical of it because we're talking about it.
I think it's fair to say that we hate the way they've built this up. I think it's, we don't hate the USFL.
I love the idea of marketing.
Yeah. I love the idea of the USFL. I love spring football. I love football in general. Like, this is a good idea in that sense. It's also a good idea to buy a house.
Yeah.
Is it a good idea to not do the due diligence on the house?
Yes.
No.
Or
exactly.
Buy one you can't afford? No. But you know what? There are aspects maybe we hate about it. But overall, it's football. I'm excited to watch this thing in 3 weeks. I can't wait to see guys like Shea Patterson, Jordan Ta'amu playing quarterback for a pro team. I want to see this. I'm excited to see this. There are just aspects we're going to be critical of and break down. Same with the XFL. And, are we a little bit more positive on the XFL? Maybe because we're still glowing from what happened all the way. It was just a great experience going into 2020 until the league shut down. It was really fun. It made a lot of sense. Some of the stuff the USFL is doing in comparison doesn't, but who knows? Maybe it works, and we'll see. And they do have a lot of great names, I will say, putting these teams together, playing on these teams, and we'll see how it all looks in 3 weeks' time, Brian. But with that said, they do have a rule book that's out that has me very intrigued, but also scratching my head, and also super excited for one part of it. Let's break it all down in this week's Hot Read. USFL rules have been revealed. There's a rule book. And with Birmingham, Alabama seeing the USFL take practice fields this week, it was a big week for the league that you probably missed because, again, the marketing, oof. But they do have little videos out. I encourage everyone to watch them on foxsports.com. Mike Pereira breaking down some of the more interesting rules from the league. And, we're going to break them down here too, Bryant. I can't wait to see your reactions. Let's get right into it. First and foremost, extra points. You look very angry. Why are you so mad right now? Is it because that there's a 3-point play? The XFL had that.
No, not at all. I'm more mad because there's just nothing about the rules on
USFL2.com. Yeah.
Maybe somebody put them on USFL.com. Let me see, just to make sure.
No, because that's a Japanese like shipping company, or isn't it? USFL, right? They
Los
don't
Angeles Career Forum.
Well, let's
translate.
let everyone know what the actual extra point rule is. Yes, there's a 1-point kick you can have from the 15. There's a 2-point conversion attempt you could take from the 2-yard line, and there's a 3-point play from the 10, just like the XFL. Although was the 2 from the 2?
No, the 2 was from the 5. The 1 was from the 2.
The 1 was from the 2, and there was no kick. So
there was no kick. So basically, it's NFL rules plus a 3-point play.
It is. So that's interesting. I
don't like it. I don't
like the kick. I was
it's
fond
not that I don't
of
like the
no
kick. I don't mind the kick, but I think it's ridiculous in this sense because with the XFL removing the kick, everyone had to do that play. Everyone had to do the 2-point. You always had to do a play from scrimmage. Now, with the kick available, what's going to happen? People are going to do the kick unless they need to do the other ones.
Later in the games is when you will see.
And you're not going to. It's not going to. How many people are going to be able to do the 3?
3 is going to be very rare. Yeah.
It's going to be very hard. Even harder than the XFL. The XFL wasn't a great, conversion rate. So,
I have in mind with this because of that. I was thinking the XFL conversion rates were kind of crap. They were getting the hang of it maybe more and more as the season went on. This will, I mean, even with 1-point conversions, make scores bump up a little bit higher for those final tallies and look better, I guess, for the league. And it affects betting too in a different way. Maybe it's easier to handicap. That could be. Who knows what kind of concessions they made with these rules? They do. They are. The USFL is approved for betting in 15 states. Obviously, they're going to be pushing the Fox Bet app that not a lot of people use for their sports book, but that's the preferred sports book of the USFL, along with something called PointsBet I've never heard of. And I looked up, it's on FanDuel and should be on some others, but also take that into account. With betting being so prominent, the rule book coming out, it'll affect how these games are handicapped, extra points, having kicks. Very interesting. It is, like Brian said, the NFL plus a 3-point play. I'm excited to see when it actually happens. I doubt we see one week 1, though. That's my prediction. No way.
I mean, unless we have to. Unless you're down.
Yeah, unless you're getting crushed.
What was cool about the XFL with the 1, 2, or 3 is people made decisions. They didn't always go for 1 and then go for 2 or 3 where they needed to. They made a decision to go for 2 this time, go for 2 this time, go for 3, go for whatever it was. We're not going to see that.
A lot more thinking involved.
Yes.
Yeah.
I almost plan it out. Guarantee that it's going to be a 1-point play unless you need a 3-point play to get closer, to fix the score to where it's like a touchdown away, something like that.
Yeah. The onside kick rule is something that you've heard teams in the NFL propose in the offseason. It always gets shot down, but it is going to happen in the USFL. No clue what to think of it. If I'm one of the NFL Rules Committee people, I'm always voting this down because I don't want to see it in the NFL, but I'd like to see it in some leagues, so why not the USFL? And, of course, I'm talking about the 4th and whatever from the whatever yard line to keep the ball. It's been proposed, and this is a 4th and 12 from the 33-yard line. And if the onside fourth down attempt, I don't know why they're calling it a 4th down. It makes no sense. It's an onside down. You need 12 yards to get the first down. And if you get it, you keep the ball. That's the rule. You can also attempt a regular onside kick from the 25-yard line. There are 2 options. What do you do? This one will be interesting. The risk is you don't get it and the opposing team has it at probably the 33-yard line or wherever that spot ends up on that onside down. But 12 yards.
To me, it's not. It's the location of the ball is not a downside because if you don't convert this, you're probably losing the game anyway. So it doesn't, whatever. The position of the field doesn't really matter to me. I had a great conversation with Sam Schwartzstein a long time ago, and he basically mentioned to me that when you do a play like this, when do you give your players a break? They could have just done a 10, 12-play drive, gone all the way down the field.
Yeah.
And now have to do it all over again. No break in between, no kick, no anything like that. So, and with shortened rosters, not that. What is it? 15 players per team. What is it?
38
players per team. Like, this is not a lot. So this is, it becomes a hopefully condition. I hope they're still running on their first day of practice today.
The thing here, that's what I'm thinking though. I would, if I'm a coach, I would try this early. If you score on, say you get the ball first, you score right away. Your first drive, a touchdown. Why not try this? You're already up. You're already up. You're going to give away some field position maybe, but it's kind of worth the risk. A 4th and 12, especially say that first drive is you're picking them apart. Oh, look at these guys don't have any answer for us early. You could get ahead early with this rule.
That is true. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Just doing it. To me, it is
because teams, defenses adjust, and they could start games off a lot of times where defenses are already on their heels and they don't know what's going on. They're especially with these new teams. Team just comes out guns a-blazing. I could see it happening early. I would try.
Yeah. Do you score the touchdown, go for 2, and then go back and go 4th and 12? Just keep the offense rolling on the field.
Pile it on. That's going to be something to keep an eye on, I think, or how often.
And you know what? They didn't do a discouragement by saying, hey, put it on the 33. Maybe they should have kept that at the 25 then for that instance.
That's why the 33 seems like kind of too close to midfield. I would have made it a little riskier and put it.
Yeah, because you could still get 11 yards and have them at the 44.
Yeah.
I still don't know if it's plus or minus. I think that's plus 44 for the, I don't know.
Well, you're on your own 33 attempting it.
That's minus, right?
Yeah. So I just feel like I would have, if I'm going for this, I would have probably just made it the 20.
I mean, if I have to do an onside kick,
logically,
I'm always going for the play, right? You're not going for the kick.
Oh, of course.
There's way more. You do way more 12-yard plays than you do onside kicks in a game. So
especially if you accidentally kick it 20 yards on the onside, then you're screwed in this league.
Yeah,
we'll get to the kickoff in a minute.
They're these next 2 rules though. I'm really excited about because I haven't seen these before.
You have not. Well, no, you've seen one of them.
That's
the
true.
double forward pass you've seen. The overtime you have not. The XFL had a 5-shot shootout rule
from the 5.
So best of the best of 5 attempts from the 5 in overtime. We never saw it. It sounded cool.
Also, mind you, in the XFL, the points counted towards the score. I don't know if they're going to count on this.
They're going to be worth 2 points in the USFL.
Yeah, so they are going to tally 2 points per. So if you get 30, you're going to go to 32, 34, 36.
Yeah, so if you have the over and they keep getting these 2-pointers, that it's going to be part of the score. So it's a best of 3 shootout in the United States Football League. And these are all from the 2-yard line. And after 3 attempts, if it's still tied, then we have sudden death in the USFL overtime. Pumped for this. Can't wait to see it. Very much like the XFL, a little closer to the end zone.
Well,
we'll see more running plays.
They only did 3, honestly, because those teams have to get back on their planes and get back home.
5's rowdy
after the game. If you do 5, you could go on forever. 3's good because then that way you're back on the plane and you're headed home with enough time to.
I'm excited for this, and I don't see how it doesn't work. It's going to be cool if it happens. Hopefully, it does. The double forward,
the two. Do you think the 5 would have been a lot more fun? I feel like the 5.
Yeah, but then at least now I understand this because now we get to see running attempts in the overtime. So and I want to see that. Especially these teams are going to be. I think we're going to see lots of RPO
lots
action,
of running,
lots of run pass option going on. So you're going to see that. In the overtime if it happens. The double forward pass is back in USFL form. 2 forward passes behind the line of scrimmage allowed, just like in the XFL. We saw it a little bit in the XFL. Pretty cool. Makes it really interesting for the play calling creativity for these offensive coordinators.
Well, I think we saw maybe 1, maybe 2.
Saw one in DC, right?
Yeah, right. Week 1 or week 2 was.
Mm-hmm.
Other than, was it completed? I don't remember. Was
I
it?
believe so. Yeah.
To me the best parts were when the ball would get like batted back to the quarterback and then he would get a second attempt at the pass. That was the best.
Landry Jones, I think, had one of those.
Happened twice, if I'm not mistaken.
So that's
Landry
cool. He
happened in Seattle.
The double forward pass was something we dug from the XFL. It's not a major rule. It's not going to happen often, but good to know it's there. The replay here is going to be totalitarian. The replay command for the USFL in LA has say over all replays. Each coach gets 1 challenge per game. I like that, just limited to 1, because the replay is going to be, they're going to be watching over every single thing, because the replay command has the ability to overrule all sorts of calls. Personal fouls, roughing the passer, defenseless player hits.
Well, those are all personal fouls, but
horse collars, all of that. Also, the different aspects of the pass interference rule, which are going to be probably confusing for referees at first, but I think ultimately will be awesome. I'm excited for that. Probably most of all, we'll get to it in a second. But replay is totally handled in LA by USFL Replay Command.
What about
is going to be that basically the eye in the sky for the league?
Well, yes, you dove deep into these, I'm sure. But what about like plays, like scoring plays, turnovers, catches? Are those reviewable by the or is it only 1 challenge per the coach? Did he get in the end zone? Was it a catch?
This is going to be handled like the NFL with replay on scoring plays and turnovers, plus all the other added authority they have that they don't have.
And then 1
have
challenge
in the
instead
NFL.
of 2, possibly 3 for the NFL.
This is really, the referees in the USFL do not have a lot of all the responsibility. They have responsibility, obviously, but Replay Command is apparently going to be watching over every aspect of these games, which is nice to know, because the vantage point you have with the cameras and the broadcast view is just so much better than what they're seeing on the field a lot of the time. The pass interference rule, though, this one I've been waiting to get to, one I've been most interested in, rule I hate the most, love-hate? Mostly hate. 15-yard penalty in the USFL, unless it's an intentional pass interference. We're getting into some NBA territory here now. We need to know if it's a flagrant 1 or 2. We have intentional PI being a spot foul in the USFL, and pass interference under 15 yards does not get you that 15-yard penalty. It'll be a spot foul as well. And offensive pass interference can't occur if a pass doesn't even go beyond the line of scrimmage. So a lot of tweaks to the standard college pass interference rule. I can't wait to see it. It sounds good on paper. It looks good on paper. Sounds good to the ear. But in practice, I can see being confusing and tough to judge for referees. And that's why you have to have a command center or an eye in the sky for your league. So that makes sense for the PI rule, and hopefully they enforce it correctly, because I think it could make a lot of sense.
I'm a little perplexed in the sense that I guess we don't really see it in college. Well, do you see it in college where... Here's my question. What is intentional? Is intentional tackling someone, or is intentional grabbing somebody's arm intentionally? Like, what's the degree of intentional here?
That
because in college you see players grab an arm. That's intentional pass interference because they don't want to get beat, but it's only 15 yards. Is that what we're talking about? Or are we talking, hey, I'm going to trip you?
Yeah. How flagrant does it have to be? That has not been defined. And again, that's why I'm saying authoritarian. This replay command is going to have the authority to call it however they want. And they're probably, I mean, that's as a bettor and as someone who's probably going to be worrying about scores and whatnot in this league, you're going to be upset because you don't really know the rule here.
I wonder if Mike Pereira is going to be in the booth. I wonder if he's going to be in the booth and he's going to be like, yeah, this is intentional. This is intentional. And then the replay officials come back. ruling it unintentional. Do you think he gets on the phone and
Well,
be like,
he's
hey,
the
no,
replay. He is. It's him. It's Mike Pereira's show. He's running it, so he's going to.
But is he in the booth,
it.
or is he? But is he in the booth being like a commentator, or is he going to be like?
Well,
at
he'll
the command
be
center?
he will be in replay command, but will he be talking on the air? Well, I don't know. We don't know how their broadcasts are going to go. I'm sure he will be, because I'm hoping they'll give us that insight, and hopefully they define it exactly what is intentional. I think we can mostly see what it is, and you're right. If it like when you see a guy grab a guy's hand, that's intentional. A push, just shielding without looking for the ball, those should be called as spot fouls. But the accidental bumps that you see get called, and they're spot fouls in the NFL, and teams get screwed, and trips.
You and Jake have a real big problem with this rule, and I'm really wondering: is it the Joe Flacco?
Yes, the guy won a whole damn Super Bowl just throwing pass interference passes his whole playoff. Come on. It's got to be reined in, this rule, and I think they're doing it here, but it's tricky. It's a wild beast. Pass interference. What
if you have like instead of like
it?
you only get one intentional pass interference per game? After the second one, you're thrown out, like a technical foul.
Oh yeah, I like it. See, let's go full NBA with the pass interference.
It's like a technical foul, right? And if you get another one, you're kicked out of the game.
And then you're going to have those players who are just so good at getting corners kicked out of games. Mm-hmm. And then you'll know whole new skill set for receivers to pay attention to. A new Madden rating for how frustrated you could get corners. I'm most excited for that of all the rules because it's, I think, the most unique, because they are mixing and matching and then adding on the command center for replay. We can maybe see, I'm hoping, pass interference be fixed permanently by how the USFL does it. We'll see. I'm excited for it. I will give them that. I like where they're going.
A lot of gray in it.
With any rule, there's gray. Hopefully they can define it. I think for the most part, us as fans can tell. And when they're in a replay booth in that added time and oh man, I can't wait to see. The kickoffs, here's something interesting. All kickoffs from the 25-yard line, we were discussing before the show. No kicking team member may line up any further back than 1 yard. So they're right there where the ball's kicked pretty much. And the receiving team needs a minimum of 8 players in the setup zone between their own 35 and 45. So between the 35 and 45 over here, receiving team, and the 25 over here.
Can you please do this as Big Papa Pump? Please, for the love.
Okay, but it would be better for the people listening and not watching on YouTube. Fine. You're right. I could do it. So you got the 35 and the 45-yard lines over here, and the 25-yard line. It's a big difference, and you couple it after the kickoff travels 20 yards. The first team that touches it has to be the receiving team. Then that means that the untouched kick becomes dead if nobody touches the ball, because you can't recover a kick if it goes past 20 yards if you're the kicking team. Only if it's within 20 yards, then it's an official onside kick. So you got all that, plus the long distances between the receiving and that equals out to a really interesting kickoff. I think. But not quite the XFL kickoff, because that's a big distance between the receiving team.
Oh, and on that note, make sure you catch BBR for our WrestleMania show next week.
Yes, of course, WrestleMania show, Brainbuster Radio. But
sorry,
aren't there going to be collisions? The 45 and the 25?
High-speed collisions, even further, probably more speed.
Because the ball's going to be touched still with guys having pace. I'm interested here too. Are they going to? Because isn't the whole point of like tweaking kickoff rules safety?
Yeah, right. Safety, right? I don't understand why this is happening, and I'd like someone to explain that to me.
Yeah, maybe I'm just too stupid to understand.
I understand the rules, but I don't see, and any listener can help us too, but I don't see why this was made. Why this? I can understand that the only thing that they're doing here is no touchbacks.
Yeah. You're kicking it from super far, 25. Okay.
Yeah.
You're not going to have too many of those.
Is that why this whole thing was put into place? Because to me, it just seems like a lot to do just to not have touchbacks.
Because it is the waiting for the offensive the receiving team to touch the ball going to hinder the kicking team from speeding down the field and having gunners just destroy the guys in the setup zone.
Lineup.
It's contradictory. It seems.
I don't see anything about them having to like wait for the team to catch it. That was the XFL rule.
Yeah, this says you can.
I don't see it here.
You can.
You go right at them as soon as the ball's kicked. You go right at them.
So,
but then you can't recover a ball after 20 yards.
So you won't see any of those bloop, those spot kicks where you try to.
They're lining
behind
up
a line.
At the very minimum, they are lining up. This is so confusing.
Yeah. So at the 45,
I'm assuming that you're kicking from the 25 and 10 yards away then is the opposing team.
It's got to be that close, right? It can't be their own. Yeah.
Because then I would just onside kick it every time because there's nobody going to be there and just pick it up every time. So that has to be the thing.
Because you're 20 yards away. If they're on the same side of the field as you, they're on the field they're at a minimum 20 yards away. So on an onside kick, how's that work?
Well, no, they're going to be 10 yards away. They're 35 to 45 yard lines. You have to have 8 players in that zone.
So they could get to the 35 if they think you're going to onside kick the ball?
Yeah. Up to the 35. So they can be 10 yards away, just like the NFL.
Okay.
But then there could be a whole mess of other players down there that you got to run to and have these long hard collisions with. This is going to give the receiving team a chance to catch the ball and have a lot of space. A lot of space to move.
Right? That's what I'm saying. That's a lot of space to move.
And that's a lot of space and a lot of green in between whoever's tackling that person and whoever's running the ball.
Yeah, a lot of collisions still, I feel. But the 10 yards, that's what you're going for. They keep moving the kicking team and the receiving team closer and closer, but then they give them this 10-yard buffer that they could also go back and set up on. If you are I'm interested to see how they align that up so you can put a few guys up here, a few guys back there to maybe just cover for an onside kick. There's maybe more movement you can do, more you can do strategy-wise with this kickoff than the XFL. But I like the waiting for it to be touched to move. Just for safety purposes made a lot of sense. This, who knows? We'll see. We'll see first play, how it goes. At least there's a kickoff. I'll say that. At least there's a kickoff.
It goes out of bounds.
Yeah. That would. Yeah, there isn't I didn't see the out of bounds rule for the kickoff.
Well, there's a lot of holes in all these rules because there's a lot of question marks. You assume that they're the same rules.
And
but you kick the ball out of bounds. Let's say you kick from the 25, you get yourself what? So what's the kickoff right now? 35 or 40? 35, right?
Yeah.
Kick off from the 35. That ball goes 5 yards in the end zone, so that's 50, about 70 yards. So from your 25, 70 yards from there is what? About the 10?
Mm-hmm.
15?
Around there. They're gonna have plenty of space behind them and forward to get down the field.
Just seems
different. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see all these rules in action.
It definitely is not preventing collisions. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't.
The goal of this kickoff is to have kickoffs.
That's it. And this kickoff has guys running as soon as the ball's kicked, so you don't have the safety aspect there. You've got potential for more than a 10-yard space of collisions, and I think we'll always see that because I don't see teams just lining everybody up at the 35 where you could scoot them back to the 45, at least a couple of guys to work as maybe a wedge, although they could ban that. I'm sure that there will be rules under rules we didn't see. Another thing is, full disclosure, we're reading off of the foxsports.com official release of the rules with all the videos that Mike Pereira put out, but there's no link to a PDF or anything on USFL2.com or foxsports.com where you could just see the league rule book, which would be nice. And I don't know why we don't have access to that, why they wouldn't put that out on social media. That would be cool to give people that kind of access. But it's not an access type league, really. We're learning.
Yeah. We'll see. Hopefully these
in
work.
21 days. And again, yes, they are approved for betting in 15 states, not yours, Bryant. Although you'll be out of the state. Oh no, not in the state you're going to either. So
no,
I'll be able to bet in Pennsylvania whenever I'm in
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Be in Pennsylvania? I was going to say New York.
Actually, no.
Is
New York? Is New York up there?
I don't see it.
Virginia? No. Florida? No.
New Jersey?
Jersey.
Oregon,
Jersey's
Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Connecticut, Delaware,
Nevada,
Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania,
no,
Nevada,
not
New
Ohio.
Hampshire,
Now you're
New
confusing
Mexico,
people.
North Carolina, North Dakota. You don't know 50 Nifty? 50 Nifty, United States from 30. No.
I don't want to hear you sing it. If you're going to do it in a trumpet, I'm welcome that. But maybe next week because we got to get out of here.
After your
Anything
big
else?
Papa Pump, I'm not doing anything like that.
Anything left on these rules?
Congrats on the rule book. We are excited to see these rules play out on the field.
Hype for the PI. Can't wait.
I think I mentioned at the beginning of the show that the reasoning behind these would have made more sense. With the XFL in 2020, there was a whole lead up, a whole discussion as to why they wanted to do these things. Yeah. What was going into the process? What was the mindset?
Podcasts and videos and all sorts of stuff saying, this is the rule. This is why we made the rule. Not just
they went in, they just didn't
little clips
throw a pickle on the window and have it stick.
This is the USFL. This is the USFL. That's what
it's funny is I see my hand and I thought that was your wife. I was going to say hi. Either way, look, we're not bashing. I didn't even bash them that much. I wish it was my hand. I thought my hand on the screen. I thought it was your wife. I was going to say hi. What was this? Oh yeah, I'm not bashing these rules. I think they're innovation. Sure, there's a lot of
knock
XFL
them until
in
you
here.
see them.
I just wonder if the USFL has seen them. To be 100% honest, and what I mean by that is, have they seen them play out on a field?
They're practicing them right now.
Who? When? With?
Yeah.
What? The XFL was using the spring league. They were using high school teams, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. They were using a lot of
laboratories.
Labs. USFL maybe just didn't give themselves enough time to use that lab. So we shall see. We shall see, and you shall see us here on your favorite podcast app right here. Wait, nope. I gotta start over. There we go.
There it is.
Just here every single week, right here.
On your extra days off. You're losing it.
You gotta lose it, man. Right here on your favorite podcast app. That's Google, TuneIn, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you give us that 5-star review and tell your friends about us. If you got a question, comment, or topic you want us to cover, well, then call or text the XFL Fan Line 724-565-4XFL. Remember, standard text message rates do apply. Alan said we're going to talk about some of those text messages next week. Also, you can catch us on social media at XFL Show. That's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you want to get a hold of us. Our DMs are open. And then also you can subscribe and watch us on YouTube at www.xfl.show, the official website of This is the XFL Show. And don't forget to check out our sponsors, Pretty Easy Podcast. Go to prettyeasypodcast.com and get started today because they make podcasting pretty easy.
Yeah. Next week should be fun and different for this show too because... Well, it's WrestleMania week, Brian. So I'm thinking we'll bump up a show.
Wait, hold on. Sorry.
Maybe.
Added to the reader. Oh, and don't forget to check out our other sister show podcast, Brainbuster Radio, for their big WrestleMania 38 show.
38. They don't put the numbers in them anymore, but it is 38.
Oh, yeah. It says WrestleMania Star 2. That's what I saw.
WrestleMania Stupendous. We'll be talking about on that show. But on this show, I'm thinking it'll be probably a different record date, a different release date, a different style show. But we'll be putting a show out next week, and it'll be fun. And yes, we'll get to some of the texts that we left.
Who is the head of the table
on the table for that? Oh, the head. Yeah, who is the head of the table for the USFL?
That's how we should have addressed Jason M's question. Who is the head of the table for the USFL?
I don't know who to acknowledge when we talk USFL.
It might be Roman Reigns. Very much. It could be.
He is the king of Fox, as far as I'm concerned. So we'll answer that question ourselves. I'll think about it and also let us know. And the next show, will be a lot of interaction with the comments you've been sending in, because we have some of those on the back burner that we've been saving up. And the USFL is getting closer than ever. So we want to talk about that with you. As for the XFL, laying low, obviously no big news announced, but we do know that they have tons of personnel going out and scouting talent at college pro days now, and that's good to see. The youth will be, I think, the majority of the league in 2023, and they're doing that work right now. And when all the news starts breaking as far as teams and everything you're talking about, we'll be talking about it here. San Antonio, still not officially announced, Brian. We did not mention that, but unless I missed something. But of course that broke. San Antonio will have a team, and we're waiting for more details on that as well. Bryant's going to be in Texas this week, not for WrestleMania, allegedly, but maybe you can do some sleuthing on the San Antonio XFL franchise while you're there, not eating Franklin barbecue in Austin.
There's just a lot of, I don't know, man. I might actually go into this USFL website and just try to get lost for a while. They go to something called Outkick.com. Never heard of them. Have you heard of Outkick.com?
Yes.
I guess they got bought by Fox, but like that betting link goes to that. So they don't even have an article within the USFL.
Yeah, that's another Fox property, and that's again the USFL.
Literally, none of these links go to another page within the USFL.
Yeah, the great. USFL coverage
this
and official like posts and stuff are all on other Fox. It's all spread out across different Fox websites and properties. Man. It's very confusing, and we're
literally
again. I don't
hate on doesn't go to another.
But just make it accessible, please. That's all I'm asking. Make this league more accessible.
This is just a home screen, basically, that goes to like.
Next episode, Brian will give us a full review of the website and the web presence.
I have to scroll. Hold on, Alan. I have to scroll more than halfway down the page before I find something that I can actually click on.
Yes, I know. I said this at the top of the show. It's very confusing and upsetting at the beginning of the show. I was trying to go on team websites or pages. They didn't even have them.
Oh, we know. Here we go. Team rosters.
Yeah,
very bottom.
You got to go all the way down the field. And then it's all one just long list. It's just a long list of teams. Yeah, if you're on that roster page, just so you know, the USFL's roster page is one page. Just scroll down. Nothing to click.
Gosh.
Not to say the XFL's
right, let's get out of here
website
before I say something stupid. I just said I'm not bashing the
but...
USFL. Let's get out of here before we.
21 days. Closer than ever. All right, everybody. At XFL Show. Brian told you all the places to hit us up. But yeah, interact with us there. Next show, we'll get to a lot of things you've been saying. And keep them coming. We appreciate it. Let us know your thoughts on everything we spoke about today. And if you think we do hate the USFL, you're wrong. You're wrong. But you keep saying it. Go ahead. We just love that you're subscribing and listening to the show, watching the show on XFL.show, and riding down this road to 2023 with us. So thank you, and we'll see you for the next one. For Bryant, I'm Alan. This is the XFL Show. Remember, they're watching.